A quick note from a favorite of mine, Southern Baked Pie Company. If you are dreaming ahead for the holiday season, they are the perfect treat. Sweet or savory, shipped fresh on dry ice, and they stay in your freezer until you're ready. They are perfect for hostess gifts, a cozy breakfast, dessert, obviously. Stress free, always delicious. I can personally vouch. They make every gathering, even a weeknight dinner, feel just a little more special. Grab yours now at southernbakedpie.com. Speaking of special, I'm excited to chat today with Brian Branton, the Instagram favorite known for his elegant, heart-filled holiday decor. Many followed along when he transformed his Alexandria, Virginia home every Christmas. This year, he's bringing that same festive flair to a newly restored property, sharing how he layers heirloom touches to create spaces that feel warm, welcoming, and timeless. Creating a festive atmosphere is about more than style, it's about joy, and I think you'll get that from this conversation. Let's dive in. Welcome to Grandma's Silver, where tradition meets today. I'm Allie, your host of the Grandma's Silver podcast and founder of the Grand Millennial Lifestyle. Here, we blend aesthetics with nostalgia, engaging in conversations with lifestyle brands, designers, and more to rediscover the timeless charm of the past. Join me as we journey from home to heart, illuminating the past and polishing the present with the gleam of Grandma's Silver. Brian, thanks for being here today. I'm excited to chat with you. I want to turn this over to you for a second and just let you tell people who you are. I think it'll help provide a little context for our very seasonally appropriate conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi everyone. My name's Brian Branton. I'm really nobody. I work in Washington D.C. I'm one of the many lobbyists in D.C. I love Christmas though, and for some reason, I just started posting about my Christmas decor on Instagram, and people really responded to it in a lot of ways. And I used to, I haven't done it in a while. I used to also love Hallmark movies. Like the cheesier the better, and I would
Mm-hmm.
watch those and just if I noticed mistakes in them, it just made me even happier. And so I started reviewing those, and I would do
Oh,
these very long reviews. I don't know if you ever saw those, and people
no,
love
but I
those.
love them.
Yeah.
I've been watching Hallmark already.
Yeah, but they're still saved up in the highlights of my Instagram. You have to scroll way back because it's been a while. It just got a little time consuming to do, but
Yeah.
I should get back into it. But anyway, so then all of a sudden people really started responding to me as a Christmas person, and they would really kind of follow along, and I built really very naturally a not a huge following, but a large following of people who just like to watch my Christmas decorations. So.
Could we talk a little bit first about, I'll use the word recently loosely, but you recently moved, right? So
Yes.
what was it, the last 2 years?
That's
It's,
right, a year and a half ago.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay. And I know that as a follower, right? So I started following along when you were in Alexandria, Virginia.
that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you want to tell people a little bit about that? And I do have some place-based questions too, but I'll let you kind of fill everyone in on the move.
Yes. So this will also show you how crazy I am. I had a house in Old Town Alexandria. It was a federal home from 1808, and I loved it. And I restored that house. That's the one I would decorate for Christmas, and it had a very Christmassy feel. It was a very warm and cozy house. Then I completely cheated on that house by falling in love with another one in South Carolina, in a small town in South Carolina. That house was built in 1790. So, spur of the moment, I decided to purchase that house. I wasn't immediately planning on selling my old town house, but that's why I ended up doing because I wanted all the furniture from that house down in this house. So, I kind of uprooted my life for the past year and a half, been restoring this house. And this year is really going to be the first year I get to go all out for Christmas here. So I'm kind of excited about it because this house
Yeah.
was definitely made for Christmas. Yeah.
Well, and I bring this up because, firstly, if there are folks who have seen your page, they would have seen your Christmas decorations in your old house. But also, you've been posting outside of Christmas, you've been posting a lot of it's been fun to kind of as a follower follow along and see your restoration and your renovations and your I think it's fun that you have sort of this blank slate.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a creature of habit. I will do the same stuff. And then
Hmm.
for me, Christmas is very much all about memories and the feeling that you had as a child and really whatever you were exposed to as a kid. That's really kind of what warms your heart. And so I'm
Hmm.
kind of rebuilding the Christmases that I remember. And so those Christmases, I call them a very Southern Christmas. Other people talk about it as like, oh, you're very Williamsburg inspired, and I guess that's true. But to me, it was more Southern than colonial Williamsburg. So it's a lot of natural elements. I use a lot of dried fruit and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I don't really kind of change from that. I might change up how I do some things, but this house is bigger, so that gives the
Right.
opportunity to have more Christmas trees.
What I like that you're describing is tradition.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean,
That's a much more cogent way of putting it than just
I mean, ultimately, and I think that you're calling out something important, which is that regardless of location, you can carry that on.
for
Lovely.
sure. I lived in another row house in DC proper in DuPont Circle. And when I moved out of that house, I lived in a really a contemporary modern condo, which was unlike anything I've ever lived in before. But I
Hmm.
still did those very traditional Christmas decorations in that modern environment. So you can definitely carry that feeling and carry that the traditional decor and just what makes you happy into any setting that you're in. It doesn't matter.
You described your decorating style as kind of Southern. Are you from the South?
I am. I'm from North Carolina originally. So
Okay.
right on, I grew up in a little town called Shelby, North Carolina, which is right on the line between North Carolina and South Carolina. So
Okay.
yeah, very much felt part of both Carolinas really growing up. Yeah.
I'm a big believer that environment shapes so much about us. So, what do you think your upbringing or your environments contributed to your approach to whether design, tradition, celebration? What does the South mean to you?
Well, I was very much inspired by the people I grew up with and the homes I would go into as a child. And I felt like a lot of my design inspiration comes from that. But again, I would describe that as very traditional and very Southern. I love to tell a story too as it relates to Christmas. I first learned the word tacky from my mom. I know this is so crazy. I was a child and my mom was describing something as tacky and I said, "What does that word mean?" And what she was describing was someone's Christmas decorations. So, and specifically, no, I will say this so for all your listeners don't hate me for this, but what she was describing is somebody had done a bunch of outdoor Christmas lights, all over their house. And in the South, you just did not do that. It's changed. People do it now. But when I was growing up, you did not do that. At least amongst my family was kind of looked down upon. And that's that stuck with me. Still to this day, I do not like outdoor Christmas lights. I've never done it. Although I think I might put a Christmas tree outside. I have a portico now. I've never had a portico, and it has a second story porch to it. I may put a Christmas tree
Oh,
on that second story porch. So this will
you
be my
might have
first,
to. You
yeah,
might
my
have
my first
to.
little branch into outside Christmas lights. Yeah,
Oh, that's
but that's
funny.
as far as I can go. That's as far as I'll
That's your
go.
limit.
That's it.
You'll hear your mom's voice if you
Yeah, for
if you go
sure.
any further than that, right?
He would
That's
not withhold her judgment about that.
no. You, if I'm not mistaken, at least in the old house, entertained.
Oh, for sure. And I do here too. Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't want to make assumptions, but,
Yeah.
but okay. So I mean, do you carry anything from your childhood into because you touched on memories and that sort of thing. So I have to assume maybe there are traditions or things that are nostalgic that you carry into your entertaining style today.
Oh, for sure. As a matter of fact, we just had a cocktail party on Saturday.
Oh
And
wow.
the food that and we're having our Christmas party in a month, a little bit less than a month. It'll be the beginning of December. The menu that I carry forward and that for all those cocktail parties is very much like what I remember my mom serving for any cocktail party she threw. It's the same dips, it's the same little sandwiches, it's the same beef tenderloin with horseradish sauce, and yeah, I very much just carry those traditions going forward.
Are
Yeah.
there specific recipes? Because we're at the time of our recording this, it is not quite Thanksgiving. So what about Thanksgiving? Are there recipes that I mean, I feel like a lot of our tables look very similar on Thanksgiving, right? But
Yeah.
there's also things that are within the family that are
That's
just
true. And I will say every Thanksgiving, my mom made the same thing. It never varied. It was always the same stuff. So of course that's the true comfort food for me. One of our big differences, and this is again being a Carolinian, we always had rice. You had rice, not any kind of
really.
potatoes. Yes, uh-huh.
So no
Which
mashed
I think is a very
potatoes.
southern. No, no, it's a rice-based Thanksgiving, yes.
No,
And
I'm in the Philly
I
suburbs and
prefer
I can't
rice.
fathom that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a lot of people, but I think the South, well, definitely in North and South Carolina, I think you're more rice based, but
That's so interesting. I've never heard
yes.
that before.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we will
Yeah.
have sweet potatoes, but of
Okay.
course, as everyone does, but
Yep.
it will definitely be rice, yes.
Okay.
And then we
So,
also would have an oyster dish, which is also
mm,
a very Southern thing. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that vary or like is it always the same kind of oyster dish?
Always the same. I think everybody does a variation of the same stuff. Like we will have a corn pudding, or someone will have some kind of corn souffle type of thing. We'd have a rice. We'd have a sweet potato dish. We would always have dressing and not stuffing,
Right.
which again I think is a little bit more
That's the
southern.
regional. Yeah, we say again, Philly suburbs, we say stuffing, but
Yeah,
I know that in the South, correct me if I'm wrong, you only consider it stuffing if it's in the bird,
that's right.
and
That's right.
dressing is more the casserole.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. We use it
Yeah.
universal,
And
universal
I
stuffing.
know some people have very much like like a sausage based
Hmm.
stuffing or dressing. No, ours never was, but it was definitely much more. I don't know, like fancy cornbread, really.
Which
If you
sounds
think so.
delightful.
Yeah. My mom would always make handmade yeast rolls that would take her days to make, and
Wow.
she still makes those. So yeah,
Oh, that's so fun.
very much this. Yeah.
I'm going all over the place here, but since we're on the subject of entertaining, for your Christmas party, I know you stick with the traditional menu, or rather, at least, I mean, it sounds fairly traditional in what you've talked about, but also it is tradition to do the same menu. But do you use your home Christmas decor as sort of your theme, or do you
Yeah,
do
I do.
themes?
No, I definitely took it up a notch from what my mom would do. Yeah, again, my mom would always like go out in the yard and cut greenery and decorate with these natural elements, and I do that too. I love the fact that now at this place I have a yard
I
that I
was
can go
just
out.
about to ask about that.
Oh yeah, man, I'm actually very excited about it. So last year I did decorate for Christmas, but the house was under renovation. So there was scaffolding outside. It was a mess. I hadn't been painted inside. I wasn't really going to decorate, and then I ended up decorating, which I think for a lot of people, my idea of not really decorating was way more than the average person does. But for me, it was like, oh, I only kind of decorated. And by this, I mean, I had two Christmas trees in the dining room because it's a very large dining room. A Christmas tree in the room I'm in now, and wreaths on the windows. And then at that point, I was like, oh, well, we should have people over if we're going to do this. So we threw together really that week a party and invited people over. It ended up being really fun, but we pulled that together really quickly. And that's why doing the same thing year after year makes it easy because you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I know what to do. To continue your conversation, so it is pulling in that stuff from my childhood, but I just do a lot more of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
I get very energetic at Christmas, and that energy carries me through.
I love it. For somebody who loves Christmas to say Oh, I'm not going to decorate this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I knew it. I
Yeah,
knew I would never not
good.
decorate. I would never not decorate. But I just thought, well, maybe I'll just put a tree up and I'll make wreaths for the doors. But
Yeah.
I kind of thought that would be the extent of it. It's fine. If you want to go see what I did last year, you can go look at my Instagram page
Yeah.
and see what I call not really decorating. Yes.
Well, I did want to ask, and you just touched on it briefly. There are differences between South Carolina, Virginia,
Yes.
to a degree, right? Depending on
Yes.
where you are, as far as what sorts of greens, foliage, natural elements there are. Is there
Yes.
anything new that you're looking forward to bringing
Yes.
inside that like you didn't have access to in your
Yes,
backyard?
yes, that's such a good question. And I am very excited about this because in North Carolina, and I think this is also true for Virginia, a lot of places, we would decorate with a lot of magnolia, acuba, nandina,
Mhm.
holly, very traditional things like this. In South Carolina, they decorate with smilax. Do you know what that is?
I feel
It's
like
like a
I've seen it.
it's like a climbing vine. Like you'll
Yes.
see it kind of climbing up trees and stuff. They'll go pull it out of trees. But it's very much this wispy vine. And you see that all through South Carolina. I've never decorated with it before. And I didn't decorate with it last year. But this year I was walking around I'm like, I think this is I think this is smilax growing up in my stuff. So I'm like, oh, I can cut this down and use it then.
Oh,
So
that's neat.
we'll see how it goes because I've never used it. I don't know how long it lasts. Like I
Oh,
know. Oh, I should say in boxwood. I'm forgetting boxwood. You always use boxwood, but I know how long I can cut boxwood and how long it will keep. And the same with magnolia and the same with the holly. I know what works well for that, but
yeah.
I just have never used Smilax. So,
Oh, that'll be neat to see.
but here
Oh,
it's used tons at Christmas. Yeah,
okay.
so I'm really close to Aiken, South Carolina, and last year we drove by. We were in Aiken for dinner or something, and drove by a house that had and then used Smilax as a garland around their front door, and it was just the prettiest thing. So
How neat. I think it's neat to see what people have access to and what you can try to integrate into the traditional decor that you're used to doing and make it a little bit not fresh. I guess it makes it a little fresh, right? But
yeah, for sure
um
it does.
not that
Yeah.
Christmas decor needs to be fresh because it's rooted in tradition. So I think we like that it sometimes is the same. But yeah, how neat.
I would never be the type, and I don't fault anyone for doing this. More power to you, because again, to me, Christmas is you do what makes you happy. So whatever
Hmm.
brings you joy, you do it. And for some people, that is they want to do something new every year. Like their
Hmm.
Christmas tree will look completely different every year. But for me, the joy is all the memories that are built into that tree. And so
Yeah.
my tree is full of memories. It's ornaments that came off my childhood tree. It's ornaments from our family vacations. It's ornaments from trips that I've taken. So I can look at that tree and just remember all those past things. And that's what I love about it. So I'll never
Hmm.
change it. I'll add stuff to it, but I will never ever change the way it is.
No, I know. And you know what's funny is I was just posting about this the other day actually on my page, but I tend to not share like my family tree, but I
Oh, and
share sort of my aesthetic tree. But
yeah,
this
yeah.
year, and even the aesthetic tree has turned into something that's sentimental because it's in our dining room. It has all these bird ornaments on it. And that actually started in a tradition where when my husband and I were dating, he's a birder, and I
Yeah.
used to get him like a bird ornament on our dating anniversary. And ever since on our dating anniversary, I still get him a new bird to add to this tree. But I don't share our family tree, and that's the one that's sometimes isn't super cute because it's got like just this random assortment of ornaments, but it makes us so happy.
I love that, but I bet you that tree is way more beautiful than you're
If
saying it is because I don't know. I love the randomness of it. How
Yeah.
the ornaments aren't necessarily matching, but I don't know. It just all kind of goes together to me. By the way, I have tons of birds
Do
on
you?
my tree. Yeah, I don't know why, but I love birds on a tree. So I
It
love the
just
idea you've
appeared.
done a bird tree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we call it the nature tree now because we've gotten some other like little ornaments that are similar. But we call it, yeah, it's our bird, our nature tree. But even that, connects to storytelling and like you're touching on the memories. And I love when people come over and they're looking at the ornaments and it sparks conversation. I'm sure you get
For
that.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely pinpoint to any ornament on the tree and tell you where that came from and
Hmm.
kind of the story behind it. And that doesn't mean every single ornament is a nice. I mean, they're all fun memories, but it's not like everyone is tied to like some
Yeah.
significant event. Some of them are definitely, oh, my mom and my sister and I, because we would always go out after Christmas to the cells and buy
Yeah.
ornaments. So some of them are literally just those memories. Oh, I know we bought this on this Christmas,
Hmm.
during one of the sales racks at Pottery Barn or something. So
But there's
it's
still a memory.
still a memory, for sure.
Backpedaling a second here, we're talking about natural elements.
Yes.
Those also have a smell.
Oh, for sure.
Do you lean on natural elements? Like, do you lean on your greens and that sort of thing? Because I think Christmas is also such a sensory holiday.
Oh yeah, I will always have a real tree for that reason because to me if
Okay.
it doesn't really smell like Christmas if it's not a real tree. So being from North Carolina and Western North Carolina, which is where a lot of Christmas trees are from, they were so easy to get to and so it's always a Fraser fir. I just love those smells. A lot of the other elements I bring in don't really have a scent to
That's
them,
true. Yeah.
but that's where the biggest scent comes from. So that's important to me. Although I have bought my first artificial trees. That's last year what I put up in the dining room. Because I have these two demi-lune tables against windows in the dining room. And I thought, oh, I want to put a tree on each of those because I had at my old place a real tree in the
Mhm.
dining room, and I loved having a tree in the dining room. And it sounds like you do too. I was worried about putting a real tree on those tables, so I found these, and that's made it a little easier. And
Hmm.
plus, I feel like you don't need the scent necessarily in the dining room. But in my bedroom, I will have a real tree. My bedroom will be a real tree. This room that I'm in now will have a real tree. The dining room will be the fake ones. And then the one I'm going to do outside is going to be fake, I think.
Ironically, my nature-loving husband has a mold allergy, so all of ours are artificial because we can't do the real trees in our house. But what do you have any hot tips for anybody with a real tree? How do you keep it happy all season?
Well, yes, you have to water it every day.
Okay.
Every day. But last year, I bought the most amazing thing, and it is a large cooler that looks like a Christmas present, really. It's kind of wrapped, but you kind of hide it behind the tree. And it is continually water. So you kind of
Oh,
fill up that thing and fill up with tons of water, and then it will continually water the tree. And you only have to fill it when it gets down to a certain level. And it kind of notifies you when it does that. And then, as a matter of fact, when Christmas was over, and we keep our tree up through Epiphany. So what's that,
mhm.
January 6th? Even after that, that tree was still fresh when we took it out. But
Wow.
no, it made it a little sad to take it down, but it's still so
Yeah, because
green.
it didn't look ready.
I know.
You kind of alluded to perhaps your preference. Are you white lights or Christmas color lights?
Well, so I have well, you could probably assume from my judgy tones about
I
outdoor
don't want to
lights.
make assumptions, but there were
Yeah.
signs that you might have a preference.
I was always a white lights guy, but like 2 years ago, well, before I sold my house in Old Town, the last year I was like, you know what? I want to try colored lights. And so I tried them on the tree I had in my bedroom. And I love that tree.
Hmm.
It was so beautiful. It was something the colored lights, but my recommendation for that because I went out to go buy strands of colored lights, and what I noticed is most strands of colored lights that you go out to buy just have like 4 or 5 colors on them, and none of that color is white, and you
Right.
really need some white lights to balance out the colors. So I strung white lights and then strung these other colored lights in with it, and that made a much more pleasing colored light tree. I definitely like that, and I'm very much an incandescent light person. I won't buy the LED light strands. I think it's too harsh of a light, so that's my other little thing.
Okay, we're trying the colorful ones on our family tree this year. And
I gotta
we
tell you, I was a big fan.
I
A big
don't
fan.
hate it as
Yeah.
much as I thought that I would. They're
Yeah.
kind of fun on that one.
Yeah, embrace it. But see, also with kids, kids love colored lights. I mean, so how can you say no to that? So
I
as
know.
a youngest child, we definitely had colored lights, but that switched. I feel I feel pretty early on to white lights, and then that's what I really remember. But my sister says she will put colored lights on her tree because she's like when she had children, I'm like, how can you, they're asking for colored lights. You
Well,
can't say no to that.
and that's, what's funny is I just had a baby at the end of September, so he's fresh and he's obviously not asked for anything. But but there was something about it was like now there's a child in the home,
Yeah,
like wanting to
yeah.
create that magic. There was just something that switched in me and I was like, let's go for the colorful ones. Speaking of magic, I wanted to ask you in this new home. Now I know you decorate lots of rooms, like there's not any one particular room, but is there a room that now that you have done more with the house, you're feeling like a little giddier about putting effort into when you're decorating this year?
So here's the difference between this house and the house I was in before. Because in the house I was in before, no lie, I decorated every room. I mean, it doesn't mean there was a Christmas tree in every room, but there
Mm.
was some touch of Christmas. Like there would be a wreath on the window or something on the bedside table. There was some little touch of Christmas in every room. This house has more rooms to it. So it would be a lot more work. So I've got to, and it has way more windows. I'm very much a wreath in every window. I think a wreath on your window, either inside or outside, is the actually really inside. I prefer inside, but I think it's the prettiest thing you can do for a room. Like you could, it gives an instant Christmas feel. If
Hmm.
it putting up a Christmas tree is too much for you, you can put a wreath on the window and it will look Christmassy, the room. And I make my own wreaths. So that's a little, I'm lying to you a little bit. It's misleading. I don't make the base wreath. I buy a base wreath and then I add to it the
You zhuzh it
elements I
up.
want to add to it. I zhuzh it up. And
There you
so
go.
I pull out that glue gun and pull off dried elements onto those wreaths. So, but that's a time consuming process. And also, it's kind of an expensive process when you're buying a lot of base wreaths to zhuzh
Yeah.
up. In my old house, I would have wreaths on the outside, on the front of the house. That was only 8 windows. If I did windows outside here on the sides where you would have to see, it would probably be 25 windows. There
Oh
are
my
like
gosh.
40 win there are like 40 windows in this house.
Wow.
So it's a lot. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. And I noticed last year when I put a window inside, you could really see it outside. You could tell there
Okay.
was a wreath in the window because it was the silhouette of it. So I'm like, okay, I don't need to put a window, I mean, a wreath outside. Plus, no one would see it except for me. I'm not going to put wreaths outside. I'm just going to focus inside. But I calculated it just the other day because I was trying to figure out how much I need to buy. I think to do the windows and doors that I'm focused on, I need to buy 29 wreaths to focus on. It's
You should
going
place like a bulk
to,
order at your local Christmas
it's
tree shop.
I know if any of your listeners
They're
tell
gonna
me
be
where I
happy to
can
see you
get,
coming.
I know, I mean, they can tell me where I can get wreaths on the cheap, but please call me. I'm
That's
gonna
so
go
funny.
bankrupt for some Christmas decorations. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so funny. Do you use any particular ribbon?
That is the one thing I will change up. I do. I love mustard yellow. I love
Mhm.
that color. As a matter of fact, I really gravitate toward non-traditional colors at Christmas. Like I'm not a red and green. I like yellows. I do like greens, but not the typical green you would think of. I like decorating with blues, you know.
Mhm.
So I like to pull in other kind of color. I pull in the colors that you kind of see from the room. So a
Mhm.
rust. I really like a rusty color instead of
Lovely.
red. Yeah. So I'll do that, but I will change up the ribbon sometime based on the room there. And I also will save elements all the time. I was talking about all the dried elements I use.
I was going to ask
So,
about that. Yep.
yeah, so I'll buy dried pomegranate, dried quince, and I will, when I glue gun those on the wreaths, I will then yank them all off the wreaths at the end of the season and box them up and then use them again. And I will use them really for years until they start to fall apart. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there
That's
you
my
go.
one
You
that's
offset
my
your
one.
cost of your 29 reads.
I try to. Yeah.
That's great. Do you know the date of this house?
Yeah, the house I'm in now it was built between 1790 and 1805.
Okay, so it is an old historic property.
For sure. It's on the National Register. It's
Wow.
yeah, it's really cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so well, if it's on the National Register, so you know some of the history?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, a lot of the history. Here's the interesting thing about this house, because I'm in kind of an upcountry South Carolina, so I'm not on the coast. This house was built in 1790 by a guy named John Blocker, and he went really lavish on this house. And I say that because this house is way more high style than you would get up in this part of the world from when it was built. It's made entirely out of wood. So, you know, the outside's all clapboard siding. The inside is all wood plank walls.
Wow.
So it's wood ceilings, wood floors, wood walls. And all the moldings are hand carved wood moldings, and they're very elaborate, and they change from every room. The center hallway, it's kind of a 4 over 4 roughly, with the big center hallway that runs in the middle of both the upstairs and the downstairs. And then a giant attic that is so big it has an attic above the attic.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I say all of that because went so lavishly. Oh, and in this room I'm now, you see this wallpaper. This wallpaper is hand painted French wallpaper that he had made specifically for the room.
Wow.
So
Oh, so that
it
was there. You didn't put that in.
no,
Oh,
it's
wow.
original to the house. It's been in this
Wow.
house since it was built. And that's as a matter of fact, we're having restorers come down and do this from New York, and they were so excited when they came to see it because they said they you can they can tell it was made specifically for the room by the way all the trees are proportionate to the size of the room. Like they're not
Wow.
shorter or nothing's like cut off on the corners. And they said they've never seen wallpaper, hand painted wallpaper of this age, because they dated it to 1805, of this age that was made for the room that's still in the room that it's in. They said you'll see it at museums or it's most of them were taken apart and damaged, so they changed into panels. But this is still in the room. It's kind of hard to
Wow.
believe.
Because I'll be pulling audio and listeners won't be able to see it. Is there a picture of this on your Instagram that I can share so people can
Oh
see it?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There
Okay.
very for sure is. So you will see it has a lot of water stains to it right now, and that's why we're having the restoration done to stabilize it and clean it up. The whole interior of my house is really the way I have decorated is is really built around this wallpaper. All the colors in it is what I've used in the other rooms around the house. So it all kind of flows from the center room.
Okay. And
But we
you just touched on what I was going to ask, which is how much of the history has inspired your design, not just at the holidays. Like, of course, the holidays, a lot of the time that's cohesive with the design of your home.
yeah.
So starting with that, how much of that has kind of inspired as you've gone on this process.
All of it. I will never be the type that lives in a house museum because I very much like a livable house. But I do want to honor the house it's in. So I will buy furniture that really fits the period of the house. I really think, oh, this would have been something that John Blocker would have had in this house. With John Blocker, he spent so lavishly that he went bankrupt. And so he had to sell the house, and he sold it like 20 years later in 1825. And it was then bought by a man in Augusta, Georgia, John Bones. And it was in his family until 1972. So
Wow.
it hasn't had that many owners. And for that reason, the Bones family that had it for so long and through the Civil War and, where family fortunes go down, very little was changed to this house. It was is very much left untouched. So we're lucky that it has all those original elements and mantles and doors. And the one thing that was changed, unfortunately, was they took all the original windows out and put in really kind of cheap vinyl windows, but they saved all the original windows and put them underneath the house. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, those are being restored right now
Oh,
and
how
are going
neat.
back in the house. Yeah, there's only one original window that's in that we have on the house right now that's been restored, has been put in. The other ones are being worked on. So
Wow. That's great that they kept them though.
I know, very
That's a
lucky.
big deal. Wow.
Yeah.
You touched on ornaments earlier. So one of the things
Yes.
kind of circling back to Christmas here, is there anything, you probably have a long list, but is there anything in particular that you really look forward to? I don't know if we want to call it an heirloom, but something that has like really sentimental value or that you just love or has beautiful memories that you look forward to pulling out every year?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like my favorite ornaments change all the time. Well, I'll give you an old and a new one. So one of the ones I love is my mom had a Christmas ornament made. Because I grew up on a not a farm, but in a house in the country where we had horses. My father was a big horse guy, and my mom had ornaments made of the horses painted on them. And
Oh,
yeah, I love that ornament so much. And so she had one made for them, and one made for my sister, and one made for me. And I think my sister and my mom have both broken their ornament because it's a glass ornament. So mine's the only one
yours
remaining
is
that
the
I
lone survivor.
the lone survivor, yes, for
Wow.
sure. So I love that ornament a lot. But also just talking about how we will always buy ornaments when we travel. And my partner and I were just in Portugal. We just got engaged in Portugal, and we bought, yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. And so we bought a Christmas ornament there to kind of remember
Oh,
that
that's so
friend.
special. This is
Excited
an
about that. And
extra
of
special
course,
Christmas.
yeah, and of course we will get married at Christmas time. Not this Christmas. We need more time to prepare, but next Christmas. But also, my parents were married at Christmas time. My sister is married at Christmas time, so it's a little bit of a family tradition too.
I wanted to ask also, kind of going off this tradition idea, ritual, because that falls into it. So, are there things, and maybe that looks a little different this year based on the fact that you're in a new place? Because I think like a lot of the rituals, some are based in our own homes, right? But
Right.
some, you probably had things you did annually in Alexandria that now you're creating new memories in South Carolina. So are there things that you look forward to doing every year?
That's actually a really good question. And this is going to be surprising because I wouldn't say I have that many Christmas rituals, really, other than I will always watch the same movies, which I'm sure everyone does. So,
Hmm.
the ones that you have your favorite. But part of that reason is because I always had to travel for Christmas, meaning like Christmas was always you would go back to your parents' house or I
Hmm.
would go to my sister's house. It was, I think it was only held at my house one time. So the rituals kind of took place somewhere else.
That's true.
Last year was the first year that it was actually in my own house for Christmas. And that was nice. Although Luke and I have started a new little ritual where this is, you guys are going to think we're so weird. And I guess we kind of are. But we found a book that was written in the late 1800s called Christmas at Cedar Grove. And this house is called Cedar Grove. That was the name of this house, and it wasn't about this Cedar Grove. It was about another Cedar Grove. But we bought the book and we started reading that book at Christmas last year, where Luke would read it. We would come in this room and Luke would read a chapter, and then I don't know. It's just
That's
a fun
not
memory. And
weird.
so
That's so fun.
this year we were saying, "Oh, we've got to finish the book because we
Yeah.
didn't finish it last year." So
Very
that
fun.
book was really interesting. It was written to kind of talk about all the overall Christmas traditions and where they came from. And I guess it
Interesting.
was, yeah, I guess it was written for kids, and it's like really kind of teaching them about all the traditions and the religious traditions and just the cultural traditions around the holidays. And it gets into a lot of detail. It was dense in the best of ways, but yeah, I loved it.
Oh, I'll have
But one of the
to
reasons it would
read
take us
that.
forever is he would start to read and then I'd fall asleep. So because it was so cozy.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's fun though. And what a fun coincidence, I guess.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
name.
right.
That is
Yeah.
fun that you stumbled upon that. Where did you find you were just out? You found it?
No, I found it when we were trying to do research on the house online,
And
and
it
then
popped up.
this popped up, and so we bought. It's funny. There have been a number of there have been some books that have this house in it, and so we have been buying like everything that we can find that's associated with this house.
How cool to be in a house that has enough history to it too, that it has its own little mentions.
Definitely makes you want to respect it very, very
Yeah.
much. So, yes.
Well, one of the last questions that I had for you is kind of tying back to the beginning of our conversation, which is that you love Christmas.
Yes.
Where did that come from? Like, is that something that was instilled in you growing up? Like, where does this love of the Christmas season stem from?
I mean, well, every kid loves Christmas, but I can't really say. I just know, like, even when I was a child, I used to love the decorating part of Christmas. Like, I loved doing that part. So it would always be me willingly my job to help my mom decorate for Christmas, and then just went from there. And then, like, even I remember going to my grandmother's house and helping her decorate for Christmas. So, I just love those memories about that. But I don't really know where it came from. I embrace it. I lean into it.
Do you have any last minute advice? Not last minute, but last minute as far as our conversation goes. Advice for anyone who's looking to bring warmth into their
I
Christmas decorating?
just do whatever brings you joy. Like whatever you think is beautiful, do it, and then lean into that and do more of it and just embrace it. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about judgy people like me who say don't put lights outside your house. If you love it, do it, and then take whatever great comfort you can from that.
We've talked a couple of times now about your Instagram page. Could you tell us what your handle is so people can follow you?
Yes, it's my name, Brian, Brian, and my last name's Branton, Branton.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat today. This was obviously lots of fun. It's hard not to have fun when you're talking about Christmas, and a little history sprinkled in there, which makes it extra fun. I'm excited to follow along and see what happens this year.
Thanks so much.